This session is aimed to explain the event, the ISE Open Innovation Challenge. So basically, today what we're going to focus is to explain what is the event itself. Then we're going to be explaining, because this event is organized in the framework of ISE, which is the Audiovisual Congress, Integrated Systems Europe. Then we'll be presenting which are the challenges which are being taking place into this event. So there are 15 challenges which are presented by 7 corporations entities. And then we're going to have special guests. We have the corporation Akbar, who is going to explain us their experience, because last year they were participating as well at ISE Open Innovation Challenge, and they met Nuclea, a startup, who at the end, they ended having a collaboration. So they both are going to explain their experience today. And then we're going to be following with, we're going to be explaining which is the procedure for the technology provider to apply to the challenge. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to have a session for Q&A. So the ISE Open Innovation Challenge is a B2B international meeting event where we have 7 corporations or entities which are basically looking for new technologies and solutions. This is organized, as I was saying, in the framework of the ISE, Integrated Systems Europe Congress, the Audiovisual Congress, which is taking place in Barcelona. Before it was in Amsterdam, but last year it moved to Barcelona. And what we're having basically is we're organizing these meetings in the Congress. So participants can choose to have either physical meetings or online meetings. It's a hybrid event. So we are organizing these meetings in advance, this agenda of meetings. So we have a specific platform where participants are registering, like tech providers are registering, and they are applying for the different challenges. And if the corporate accepts to meet them, they can either have a physical meeting in the venue of the Congress, where we're going to have tables where each corporation is going to be handing all the meetings. And of course, there are going to be some sessions on May 17th and 18th where companies can have the meetings online. So also, like for companies which are having physical meetings, they can also like have the online meetings afterwards. And something else I wanted to add is that all participants are going to receive a pass to the Congress. Okay, so if when you register, you indicate that you want to participate physically, you're going to receive a pass from our parts to register.
Alba, perdona, no veiem a pantalla completa.
Ah, perdona. A veure...
La part superior, configuració.
A veure, ara no ho veig.
Aquí.
Ara?
Sí, canvia-ho, ara. Gràcies.
Okay. Thank you, Nuria. Basically, I'd like to introduce a little bit now what is the Congress about. So as ISE, it's for the audiovisual industry. So it covers a wide range of thematics. So it starts from live events to also like content creation and broadcasting. And it also covers whatever is lighting and staging. And in addition, it also includes the digitalization of buildings, so which is residential, also hotels and hospitality. And basically, it's how to include digitalization and audiovisual technologies in them. Also, we have another thematic, which is digital signature and digital out of media. Audio, it has a big role, as you can imagine. Unified communications and education technology. And finally, another big thematic, it's basically control and security rooms. So all these screens, audio and video for controlling and the security. And then I will now start to explaining the different challenges that we have, so which are presented in this event. So we have Media Pro, which as you might know, is one of the biggest audiovisual groups here in Spain. Basically, what they do is the creation and distribution of content. And they have 3 different challenges that they are presenting in this event. So on one hand, they are looking for a cloud budget planner for producers. So basically, what they want is to have an app that will have to connect to the different pricing tools from the different main cloud providers. So this is like focus on the audiovisual sector, and what they want is to have a pre-configuration defined by the IT team. So the producers only need to enter the parameters, which are specific for each project, and get the price from the different suppliers. Then they are focusing a lot because, well, nowadays it's a trend, which is the metaverse and the NFTs. So NFTs are the digital assets, and what they want is to have a tool where they can automate the configuration of these NFTs. And then a second challenge, which is also related to NFTs, it's that they want to integrate a wide level secondary marketplace for NFTs, because they're going to have a first marketplace, but they know that there's going to be business on that. So they want to already have a role on a secondary marketplace for them. So what they want is to retain users and create a community, which is, well, interested in these audiovisual NFTs. The second corporation that we have also participating at the event is Cellnex, which is an infrastructure operator for telecommunications. Cellnex is doing the broadcasting of big events, live events, also like the broadcasting, for example, of big football matches. So what they are looking is for solutions and equipments to produce wirelessly UHD TV. So what they want is basically to enable the deployment of wireless networks for TV production. And as I was saying, since they have this infrastructure already for the broadcasting of live events, what they are looking for as well is to provide fans or users, which are at the live events on site, with experience. Then we have Bitneo, which is a big communications group, and they have an OTT for sports platform, and they want to monetize this platform as well. So they want to offer fan experience applications. In that sense, they want to integrate gamification apps and also merchandising. Another challenge that they got, the second one, is that they want to have a voice interactive device, basically in hotel rooms, so they can interact with the guests in the check-in and the check-out. For example, they also want to control, to be able to access and request room services. They want to also provide tourist recommendations to guests. Basically, it will be a voice software so they can interact with the guests. Arthur Holm is a producer of hardware. They are manufacturers of screens for conference rooms. And what they are looking for is for software capabilities for their screens. So basically, what they want is that the experience within a parliament, for example, could be more swift, like by using a software that integrates all the different screens so they can interact with them. Then we have Filmin, which many of you might know, which is the Spanish Netflix. And what they have is that they want to automatically generate and tag images and short videos about the most relevant stands on it. So they want to be able to identify objects, identify actors, also to be able to identify the moods of the images and videos they have. So once they identify all this, they can tag them and they can create these short videos and images that they can afterwards use to recommend to the users that they have in the platform. And this is the second challenge, actually. So they want to have a good recommendation service. So this tool must be able to basically detect which is the user's behavior that are in the platform and which is their taste, so they can recommend which series, which movies they should be watching. Corporació Catalana de Mitjans Audiovisuals is the main broadcaster in Catalonia for TV and radio. And they are looking basically for also, as well as filming, it's very similar, because they are looking for a solution on AI, which is going to be able to detect images and analyze text. And so it can basically detect and relate it to the Sustainable Development Goals. So basically, the objective here is to see which audiovisual content they have, which is related to the Sustainable Development Goals. And finally, the second challenge they have is that they want to look for a solution based on machine learning that it's going to be able to identify and predict the region in Catalonia, because they are based in Catalonia, where a device HBB-TV is located. And they can predict that based on the list of channels tuned by this specific device. And finally, we have Sony. So Sony is presenting the 3 different programs here. So one of them is the Sony Innovation Fund. So basically, like, well, they are investing in technology that it's important or strategic for them. So they are looking to invest in these startups. Then they also have the Sony Research Award Program, which is basically, this is directed for research institutions and universities who want to do research in the areas, in the fields that Sony is interested in. So they can grant between 100 and 150,000 K for doing this research together with research institutions. And finally, they also have an acceleration program that is launched twice a year, that they are also looking for basically startups that would like to join this program. So we're done with presenting the challenges so far. So now I would like to give the floor to my colleague, Laia Pes. So she will be able to, well, she will be doing the interview, right, with Akbar and Nuclear. And so please, Laia, go ahead.
Thank you, Alba. Let me introduce you to Ramon and Eudal from Akbar and Nuclear. First of all, let me introduce you to Ramon López Roldán, responsible for the innovation ecosystems at Akbar, one of the corporates participating in the last edition of Integrated Systems Europe 2021 that reached an agreement with Nuclear, a startup that applied as a tech provider for Akbar's Open Challenge. Ramon, what can you tell us about Akbar, the company, and its strategy to search for tech opportunities?
Hello, Laia. Thank you for the invitation to be part of this event. Okay, let me first introduce you to Akbar. Akbar, for those of you that don't know, Akbar is the lead company in water services here in Spain. In fact, it's part of Veolia Group. And last year, we submitted a challenge related to the digitalization of our activities. And in Akbar, what we do, we are looking for technological opportunities to improve our operations and also to complement the portfolio of solutions that we offer to our clients. To do that, what we are looking for is to do a proof of concept with a technological provider for this end, what we do is we made our assets and our data available to these technological providers so they can validate the technology in a real environment. So if the test is successful and both parties we agree, then we assess a collaboration model for a long term. And to do that, to have a proper deal flow of opportunities, what we do in one side is we do active scouting of startups. But on the other side, what is very helpful for us is to collaborate with programs like this ISE Open Challenge, that we can submit our challenge and you can do a much more wider dissemination, and you have a better access to the startup and also all the technological providers community than we do for ourselves. For in our case, it's very important, this collaboration with you, so you can help us identifying these technological opportunities.
Mhm. And then, can you give us some advice about how you select the tech provider's proposal, or what bothers you more when you are deciding with who are you going to meet?
Okay, yes. First of all, I look for the technological solution that the startup is showing us, is providing, that really fit our needs. Well, one piece of advice to other corporates when creating a challenge, I think it's important not to be so specific that maybe you're losing some interesting opportunities, to innovate in new business models, but not to be so general that at the end you need to do like a hard work filtering all the opportunities. So first, to assess if that technology really fit what we are looking for. And then what we assess is the level of maturity of the proposal. As I have said before, our final aim is to do a test, a proof of concept. So it's important for us that the technology is in a commercial or an advanced prototype state, so we can test it in a real environment and draw conclusions from that test. In our case, for example, we focus on technologies that maybe they have developed for a different market, and we try to study their application in our market, in our business, or maybe they have developed for a different geography and we test in the geography. So it is an innovation for us. And other thing that I think is very important is the message that you left in the platform, the technological providers left in the platform, because some of you contact you, some of them, contact you, for having a meeting, but they left no message, and I think that's a mistake. Some other left like a very long message with the whole portfolio of solutions, even the solutions do not fit to your challenge. So my advice is, please, when you write to a corporate, please adapt your message to what this person is looking for.
And then during the face-to-face meetings, did you, during last year at the Integrated Systems Europe, did you meet your expectations? Can you tell us something or a curious experience that you had there?
Yes, my expectations were met. In fact, I had a lot of applications of entrepreneurs contacted me. What I suggest also to be quite selective when you're accepting those requests, because I also think that it's a mistake to accept all the requests, especially at the beginning, because the time slots that you have to meet those startups are limited. So it's important not to find yourself in a situation that maybe you have allocated all your slots at the beginning and you have no more slots for the last opportunities, because I received a request for meetings during all the time. The call was open until the last day. And also from the corporate side, what you can do, I think, if you have the time, it's also interesting to check all the providers that are that have joined the platform, also that you can also do an active scouting of the opportunities that are shown there. For me, the best experience in this kind of challenges, for example, with ISE, is to have this opportunity to meet these technological solutions. from all over the world. And what I will say to those technological providers, sometimes the collaboration is like very fast, very easy. You can find a match, and some other, in our cases, maybe the collaboration at the short term was not successful because maybe, I don't know, we had another priorities or the technology was not mature enough. But I think it's important to keep the track because in our case, we had collaboration with those providers, maybe after 1, 2, or 3 years after the first time we met. So I think it's important to keep the track, and to follow the evolution of those technological startups or providers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ramon. Before introducing you to Eudal, I just want to remind you that you can, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A, and at the end of this session, we are going to answer your questions. So let me introduce you now to the other part, the startup that matched with Akbar. In this case, Eudal Camproví, CEO at Nuclea. He managed to reach an agreement with Akbar at the Integrated System Europe Open Challenge 2021 last year. So, Eudal, what can you tell us about Nuclea and your strategy to search for opportunities and projects to implement your solutions?
Okay, thank you very much, Laia, for the introduction and for all people in Axio to invite us, and obviously to Ramon as a corporate working, or at least giving us the opportunity to work with them. So thank you very much. So basically, let me start explaining what is Nuclea, because Nuclea, we are a kind of project that it's not easy to explain at all, because we are a deep tech startup that it usually requires more than 2 minutes to explain exactly what we do and to make sure that the other understands exactly what we do. So when we try to get new customers, the first thing we do is we do not expect the others to understand exactly what we do, because our experience just explains that it's not possible to manage to do so in some minutes. We just, what we try is to explain something to the other part that generates some interest. So they have interest to have another conversation outside of the platform in this case, so we can have a better environment to explain what we do. So in our strategy is basically trying to explain what we do, knowing that in the first meeting, probably nobody will understand, but generating enough interest to manage to have another call, another conversation. So in that other conversation, we can deeply go into our solution and then understand if we can have a fit with that person, with that corporation or not.
Mm-hmm. And then how did you get to the Akbar Open Challenge at Integrated Systems Europe 2021? And what advice can you give to all the tech providers that are listening to us, applying and can apply for corporate challenges this year, 2022?
I don't dare to give any advice to nobody, but I will try to explain what we do. And also, you should take into consideration that tech providers are not the same. So we have some IT consultancies as a tech providers, we have startups, we have a bit more established companies that they are offering their technology as well to corporations. So what I will do is explain the strategy I would follow as a startup to try to convince corporations, and how we at the Challenge 21 we did to talk with corporations. So first of all, as I mentioned before, we really understand that by having a 30-minute call is not enough to convince nobody. So we just applied to the challenges that we thought that somehow could be good use cases for our technology. So in our case, we were looking for use cases, and we were looking for challenges that somehow our technology could help, not in the whole challenge, but in some parts of the challenges they were suggesting. Then, as I said, in half an hour, it's not enough to convince nobody. So what we are doing is to try to understand who is the person we will have a conversation with. So in this case, before talking with Ramon, I knew where is he from. I visited his LinkedIn. I knew his position in the company. So, and this is very important to generate some engagement during the first moments in the conversation, because at the end of the day, business or trying to make business is also a relationship with others. So it's important to know who you are talking with, and obviously understand the challenge they are suggesting to the startups or to the companies. And the third one, it would be try to show something. So, and when I say try to show something, is not showing a PowerPoint, which it may end up being a bit boring. Show a demo of what you are doing, even if it does not apply fully to the person you have in front of you, but it's important for the other to see something that Ramon said before. Okay, we were looking for something that it's almost market ready. So this is important. If you just show a PowerPoint, it may be not enough, because corporations are looking for something a bit more mature. And those were the strategies and the advices somehow I would give, especially for startups trying to work with corporations.
Mm-hmm. So remember that Eudal said, don't show a PowerPoint, show a demo. So now I think this is the most important part of the interview. Next steps once you reach the agreement. In what phase are you now, or of the implementation of the project?
Yes, Ramon can also answer to this question, but I will answer from my perspective. So once you get an agreement, you have to sign a kind of a contract, which under the name of proof of concept, where it defines exactly what the corporation is expecting from your technology and what do you expect from the corporation as well. So you can be aligned on the valuation if the pilot it was successful or not. This is the first thing you have to do. And as a startup, the second thing you have to do is being very patient. I mean, sometimes corporations, they suggest challenges that they are very nice when they write it down, but sometimes they are huge. They are a lot of people deciding, a lot of people thinking about the challenge, and maybe not always everything is as defined as you would expect to be. So you have to be patient, understand that it's an effort also for corporation to work with startups, and it's an opportunity for a startup to work with the corporation. So you have to put your expectations in the right place, be patient, learn a lot from the way they work, because one corporation, it's not much different from the other. So all the requirements one corporation have, it will be useful for the other. And be very honest. So, and be very open, invest a lot of time. And yeah, so far we are very happy with what we've been doing with Sweat. Ramon must say if they are happy as well, but at our end, we are very happy and we are learning a lot. So my advice would be patient, put the expectation right in place, be transparent, and sign a proof of concept that aligns the expectations of corporation and startup.
Yes, because Ramon, what tips could you give to the tech providers for the follow-up and for reaching a win-win agreement in this case, from the corporate point of view?
Yes, I fully agree with what Eudal said, that you need to be patient with the corporate because processes are quite slow. And we have made an effort to have like a fast track for startups. So startups do not have to go through the classical route, because it will be much harder through the purchase department and the legal department. We are having like a much more soft entry, for the startups. But anyway, as Adal said, there is a lot of people involved in approving a POC. Sometimes what will happen is, yes, we have several needs, but there are also some priorities on those needs. So maybe a technology is interesting, but it's not in the first position of the priorities. So that's what I said before, that maybe the collaboration is not a short term and you have to wait some months to do the collaboration. And very important, I always say, to be honest, be transparent from both sides. What do you expect? What can you deliver? I think it's very important to be honest from the beginning and to know both sides, what the startup in this case can provide, and also what are the expectations also from the company, for the future collaboration with the startup.
Okay, so thank you, Ramon and Audal. Remember that if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A, and at the end of the presentation, before I give the floor to Alba, we are going to answer all these questions. You can say directly the question direct to any of the speakers, so Ramon, Audal, or Alba. So now let me introduce you again to my colleague, to give the floor to Alba, that she's going to explain you how to register.
So hello again. Thank you, Laia. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ramon and Eudal. So I really think that your experience and tips are going to be very useful for the different companies that are now registered to this event and are now also listening to today's session. So thank you a lot. So we're going to proceed. And we're going to be explaining a little bit. So basically, we're explaining what were the challenges about, and now we're going to explain what we target. So tech providers, right? So what are tech providers in that sense? So they are startups, they are SMEs, R&D centers, universities, consultancy companies that in that sense have their own solutions, right, that they can propose. So basically what we're looking for is for tech providers that can have a solution, a technology that can fit to one of the challenges that we have been explaining to. So what is very important, as Eudal was saying, right, is that you identify that your technology is a fit for these challenges. And that you can see that it can be a use case for you, that it can be useful. So you should not be targeting all the challenges because the corporation is appealing or attractive to you, but you really need to check and identify which challenges are good for you as well, right? So this is very important. Then we're appealing also for clusters and associations. So what we want is for them to just request their members to apply for these challenges. And then what we want, and we will explain in right now, it's basically that it's very important that when you apply and register to the challenge, that you explain what is your proposal. Right? So your profile, it's very important that it's well defined, because based on that, the corporation is going to choose whether to meet you or not. So you have the link here in this, we will send it to you afterwards. Okay, so it's the link to register to the platform. So basically, when you register, you need to choose your attendance, whether you can come physically to ISE Congress. So I just remind you which are the dates. So it's from the meetings, physical meetings will be from May 10th to May 13th. And these meetings, the physical meetings. So as you will see also in our website, so corporations are divided. So 4 corporations are going to have meetings on the 10th and the 11th, and the other 3 on the 12th and the 13th physically. Okay, so you need to check, because when you register, if you want to come physically to ISE Congress, you need to check which day your corporation is going to be there in order for you to choose the right attendance when you register. So your availability matches the availability of the corporation. So if you want to, for instance, meet MediaPro, who is coming on May 10th and 11th, you need to also choose this attendance when you register. Okay. Then we also have reserved a couple of days for virtual meetings for all of those tech providers that cannot make it physically. So, well, just for you to know that you can have online meetings 100% if you wish, and also you can have hybrid kind of meetings, in the sense that you might come and have physical meetings with 2 corporations on ISE Congress, and then do it online with other corporations on the following week. Okay, so we want really to encourage physical meetings, in the sense that if you can come to ISE Congress, just do it. Okay, and of course, I remind you that we will provide a free pass tickets to ISE Congress as well. And as I was saying, you need to indicate while you register, there's a question asking you to what challenge you're applying for. So you need to indicate which you apply, and then explain which is your proposal. Okay, so it needs to be well defined, well explained, because sometimes we've seen some proposals that are not well, let's say, defined, or are not targeting well enough the challenge. So we've been like requesting you to provide more information. So in order to avoid that and go straight forward, we really request you to have a complete profile, okay, and a complete proposal. So once we have that, this information is complete, we provide this information to the corporation, who will be reviewing your proposal. And in the case they are interested, they will send you a meeting request. The corporate itself will send you the meeting request. So just don't forget that. You cannot send meeting requests yourself. It will be the corporation who will do it in case they are interested. So again, it's very important that when you register, have a good proposal written down. If you haven't done so, you can always go back to your profile and write it down correctly. And then, of course, if the corporate is interested, they will send you a meeting request. And then, as also like Ramon and Eudal were pointing out, it's very important, the follow-up. It's not only to request the meeting and prepare the meeting, but also it's the afterwards, it's the next steps and the follow-up with the corporation, right? That you need to keep in mind in order to really achieve this collaboration. So basically, this is how your profile looks like. Okay, so here again, you have the registration link. Well, basically, it's nothing more than what I've already added. Okay, so it's to explain your innovative solutions and the type of course of collaboration that you're looking for, whether it's a proof of concept, etc. And now, well, once the procedure is already explained, and now we finish the session and we can start with the Q&A session. So Laia has been reviewing the questions that you have been posting, and she will be like telling them, so we can be answering. Both me, Laia, Eudal, and Ramon can be answering questions today.
Yes, here we have some interesting questions. The first one is for Ramon. Let me ask you, which kind of agreement you sync up with the startup regarding the attachment and or exclusivity of the solution tested, or the commitment of the corporate in the afterwards acquisition or becoming their client eventually? So which
Well-
kind of agreement did you sync up with the startup?
Mhm. Well, this is quite a complex question.
Yeah.
It depends on the technology, how strategic is the technology for us and what we are doing in this test, in this proof of concept. For example, what we are doing in this pilot is an adaptation of the technology, for example, to our field to our market. We have like a template. In this template, we pay for the cost of this pilot. We leave all the IP to the startup. We don't own the IP. The IP is very important for the startup to go to the market. But what we establish is we ask for a first right of refusal, for the first opportunity, to negotiate with the startup for any kind of exclusivity agreement, for example. So that's what we do. We don't own the IP, but we ask for this first right of refusal. But in other cases, for example, in the case of Nuclea, Nuclea is a technology that is not part of our core business. It's very useful for us, but as a tool. So in this case, no. In this case, of course, we are paying for the proof of concept, but our final aim is that Nuclea become a provider of us. So in this case, we are not asking for any rights. It depends. We try to be quite flexible in this sense.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Ramon. The next question is for Audal. Here they are asking which was the process for understanding well the challenge and then apply for it. Did you manage it through the platform or another way? So before applying for the challenge, what did you do to understand exactly what Akbar was looking for?
As I said, when I was looking for challenges, I knew for sure that, well, everybody knows probably that any solution can fulfill all the challenge a company or a corporation is looking for. So what I was looking in case of Suez is just obviously reading, understanding very well the challenge and understanding in what part of their challenges Nuclea could bring a lot of value. So and that's what I was trying to demo to Ramon when we met. So I went directly to show, okay, we are doing this. This is how we could help you, understanding that we were not fulfilling all their requirements, but it may be disappointing if you try to convince someone that you can your solution it's perfect for their pain. It's not true. This is not true. You may have to adapt it to really become a good solution, but out of the box, any solution is perfect for anyone. So focus, trying to know the other, which is it seems a stupid thing, but knowing to whom you are talking with is important, and demoing what you are doing to try to impress the person you have in front of you.
Okay, thank you, Audal. These next questions are for Alba. Here they are asking where can they publish the specific solution for each challenge. I think that you already explained a little bit about this, but they want to understand it better. Where do they have to, the tech providers have to publish the specific solution for each of the challenges that they want to apply for? And then also they are asking if we are going to open the agenda. So for the tech providers. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. So first question, basically the proposal itself. So they're like, when you register in the registration process, so there's a question and it's a private question in the sense that it's not going to be published anywhere. So just us, the organizers, can see this question. It's basically to indicate to which challenges you're applying to. right? So there's the list of the challenges and you need to indicate them, right? And then there's a second question and it's asking you why you are applying to these challenges. So there it's important that you indicate the why, right? The proposal that you have, that it's targeting specifically this challenge, okay? And then what we do, because we publish your profiles, is that we ask you also that in the marketplace section, you also like, well, basically describe which is your offer, your solutions that you have, your technologies, again. So it's like, there are like two different steps. Let's say one is in the registration, like a private parts, where we are the organizers are going to be checking which challenges you are applying to and why, okay? So with this information, we'll be able to assess if you're a good fit and then pass this proposal to the corporations. And then there's a second step, which is the marketplace. It's your public profile where you need to state which is your offer, because then this is going to be public in the website. So anybody, also the corporates, can be checking this profile. And then regarding the agenda, I didn't understand exactly what you mean by opening the agenda.
Yes, I think the question, Alba, is that the tech providers are not allowed to make an agenda directly with the corporates in this case. In this case, are the corporates the ones that are going to make the agenda? So that's why it's closed.
Exactly. So it's different than from other brokerage events or matchmaking events where everybody can request meetings to everybody. So it's not the case here because it's this event is very directed to the challenges that we have, right? So it's basically, it's going to be open only for tech providers that can apply to these challenges. And they are going to be having meetings. The meetings are going to be only between tech providers and corporations, right? So because of this, what we did is that you have to send your proposal as a tech provider. You need to send your proposal. And then afterwards, if accepted, then it's the corporation who sends you an invite to meet, right? So you need to wait. The procedure is different in that case.
Mm-hmm. Here we have another interesting question. From Jordi Raffles, that how do corporates can participate? And this should be this question could be answered by Alba first, and then Ramon maybe can give us his opinion. So how can corporates participate in this corporate challenge, and what is the cost in this case?
Okay.
So,
yes, thank you. So actually, I didn't mention it at the beginning, but Axio, it's part of the Enterprise Europe Network, which is a European Commission initiative, which funds innovation activities and internationalization activities. And for example, it's funding this activity specifically. Okay, so what it aims is basically at these open innovation initiatives to basically make them happen and to have the chance that tech providers can meet corporations in the framework of congresses. So we do that, for example, at Mobile World Congress. We've been doing that for many years now. And now we're starting also with ISE Congress. And for your, just for your information, we're also gonna do it at Free From Food, which is happening in the month of June, and it's dedicated in the agro-food sector. Okay, so it's going to be the same concept. So those events are free of charge because they are funded by the European Commission, who is aiming this kind of activities. So it's both free for the corporation who participates and both free for the tech providers who want to participate. Mm-hmm. And then if a corporation would like to participate, so basically it's about like to work in advance, right? So we need to talk with the corporation to see what challenges they have, to see if they have a fit on the Congress itself, and see also, well, we need to define the challenge and then work on the campaign. And afterwards, like there should be a commitment also from the corporation to really like, well, keep going on before the event to do all the selection. Right? So we need to be filtering all these proposals and select the tech providers they want to meet with. So we can start building the agenda for the day of the event. And afterwards, of course, we need the commitment to do the follow-up. So this is what we request from corporations, basically.
Yes, and Ramon, about that, which is the benefit, or which benefits did you get from this kind of open challenge program?
Yes, I have to say that the process is very easy for the corporates. I remember that there was like a call for challenges at the moment, and we were in contact with you, and also, well, you guide us in all the process. It was very easy, and you help us also in building that challenge and to write it in a way that is useful, no, for the technological providers. And for us, the best benefit is that you have access to a whole community of technological providers that we as a corporate, we do not have. So of course, when we are looking for startups, we can do dissemination through our own channels, our social networks and so on. But it's not the social networks, for example, that startups, technological providers are accessing more frequently, no? And in your case, you have this channel, so you can access the whole community of startups. And for us, it's easier to bring those opportunities and to access those opportunities, because for us, it's like no effort, the opportunities are coming to us and we only need to assess them. So I think it's useful for the corporate.
Okay, thank you, Ramon. This question is for Alba. Here there's a tech provider that doesn't have yet set up the startup or the company. So they are in the idea or prototype phase. They can apply for the challenges in this case.
Yes, they can. In general terms, they can, of course. We don't have, let's say, a ban on that. So I would suggest that they register to the platform and they indicate what they're doing, what's their prototype, in what stage is it exactly, and what they can propose to the challenge they want to apply for. Okay, so if we see that could be a fit, even though like the company is not just established, it's not a problem, because what it's important is that maybe this prototype can be already like a fit for one of the challenges. So we will assess that and then pass it to the corporation.
Okay, thank you. Here there are also some questions about messaging the corporates. No, that in this case, the tech providers are through the platform are not allowed to message directly to the corporate. How can they do that, or why they cannot do that in this case, Alba?
All right. So basically, so we stopped the messaging because there are many proposals for each of the corporations. They're receiving like around 100 proposals, each of them. So they cannot handle all these messages. That's why we have defined this procedure where it's very important that when you register, you really like write down your proposal with all the information that you think it's relevant, okay? Because this is what we are going to assess and what we are going to pass to the corporation. So it's basically because of resources, because corporations cannot manage to review 100 different messages every time. So we just do it in one, let's say, application where you just define your proposal, and this is what you're going to be assessed on.
Okay, thank you, Alba. And in case they want to change make any change in the proposal that they already registered or change them, how can they do that? in case they want to introduce changes or review
All right.
the proposal?
So in case they want to do that, it's better that they send us an email. Okay, they can always do that, right? So they can always access their profile and change their, so basically their proposal, what they wrote down. So they can do that. But the thing is that because maybe we might have already reviewed that and we don't get a notification when there's an update on your profile, then we don't know it, that you have updated it. So it's better if you send us an email. So we are aware of it and we can check it again. Okay, so we take into account that you have updated it and we can pass it to the corporation again for review. Okay.
Okay, so I think that this is everything for today. There are 3 minutes left for the ending of this session. Thank you very much, Ramon and Audal. And I will give the floor to Alba to say goodbye to everyone.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think it was very useful. So this session, I hope it was useful to both like tech providers who already registered to the platform that we're looking to have more information about the event itself, and also for some other tech providers that didn't register yet, but wanted to see what was this about, and maybe now they have a clearer idea and now they can register. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna write down here in the chat for everybody the registration link to the platform where you can always find all the information up to date. And then I'm also gonna write down which is the contact email that you can use to write the questions that you have. Also, if you have some updates in your profile and you want them to be reviewed so we can assess again your suitability for a challenge, so you can also send it to this email. Okay, so thank you very much for attending to today's session, and we keep in touch and see you hopefully physically at ISE events in the Congress itself when we have the meetings. Thank you very much.